Recently, I watched the Disney animated film Treasure Planet and found myself thinking, this is pretty good. Why is it not as big a deal as the animated films that preceded it? Why does nobody talk about Treasure Planet? I mean, other than to say that it's underrated. Treasure Planet was a beautifully drawn, well-acted, mostly, well-written story that was both classic Disney and a departure from traditional formula, and to great effect in my opinion. So why then did it fail so badly? Well, in this quick 5, we're going to give you our top 5 reasons why Treasure Planet failed and is not considered a Disney animated classic. Well, we'll start with Ben, and Ben is pretty much terrible. And even most fans of the movie would agree with this, I think. You know, he's supposed to be the comic relief, a thing that every single Disney movie has, but Ben is just, he's annoying. He's played way over the top by Martin Short in a piece of terrible casting, in my opinion. You know, Olaf is great because he knows his role and then he stays out of the way. You do not hire Martin Short to stay out of the way. Martin Short will 100% try to steal every single scene he's in, and that's what he did here. He's loud, obnoxious, and not at all cute or endearing. He does not give warm hugs. Treasure Planet is Treasure Island in space. It's in space. And I don't think I'm going out on a limb here to say space isn't for everybody. And it certainly isn't for pirates. Some people were turned off by the juxtaposition of actual pirate ships floating through space. And I can't blame them. I had a hard time myself getting my head around them breathing out there in that atmosphere, literally mopping the deck of a pirate ship out in wild space. Meanwhile, all kinds of other high-tech things are happening all around them. There really is no good reason that I could think of to tell this story in space other than someone thought it might be a cool idea. But then that's the kind of thinking that often leads to forcing visual square pegs into round holes. I think the movie might have been better off sticking to the sea, or maybe just using modern spaceships to tell the story. But pirate ships in space, probably not the best idea. Disney did not promote this film at all. The trailers pitched it as some kind of zany romp with funny sidekicks and cyborg villains, and it was terrible. The trailer was terrible. None of the heart of the story, none of the breathtaking visuals. This should have been sold as an animated tour de force, the very peak of Disney animation. They hadn't done it better ever. But just listen to the voiceover guy. He's selling us a completely different movie.
3 unlikely heroes are taking on the meanest cyborg in the universe.
Or maybe they didn't even bother trying because they opened it up against Harry Potter, of all things. It's as if Disney literally just put their hands up in surrender and said, you know what, we're going to cut our losses on this one. You know what all of the best Disney animated films have in common? Princesses. Or at the very least, strong female characters in the lead. Female characters that are the focal point of the story. And the closest thing that Treasure Planet had to a strong female lead was Captain Amelia, played by Emma Thompson. Now, she's a great character, but she's not the focal point of the story. In fact, our lead, the focal point, Jim Hawkins, doesn't even have so much as a love interest in the film. If anything, his love interest is the sea, or space, if you will. Now, I should say that these aren't problems in terms of whether or not the story is good. I loved Jim's character and his lack of a love interest, and I thought Captain Amelia was great, but it's a very real reason why the story maybe didn't resonate with a wider audience. And finally, and perhaps most important, Treasure Planet arrived at the very end of the Disney animation renaissance, one that ran the course of the 90s, an entire decade. A decade that brought us Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, Pocahontas, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Mulan, and Tarzan. But by the end of the decade, there might have been a little Disney animation fatigue happening. 2001 rolls around and we get Atlantis, and it was met with a decided meh. And it has asking, had Disney run out of ideas? Or maybe it was the emergence of Pixar in 1995 with Toy Story, and where we saw maybe that fans were kind of over traditional animation. Computer animation was amazing, and it was the future, and people were really excited about Toy Story and Pixar. And the truth is in the box office. Just look at the numbers. In 2001, Atlantis cost $120 million, and it grossed $186 million. Now, that looks like a win, but it's not. That's not a win. Not if you factor in marketing, etc. Then you've got Monsters, Inc., Pixar, which was made for $115 million, and it grossed $577 million. That's a definite win. Lilo and Stitch, a traditional animated film, did stage a modest comeback with a $273 million gross against an $80 million budget, but one could argue that's mostly because it was an expertly written film and could not be denied as quality. And you have to wonder, would this have been even better if it were computer animation? Then we get Treasure Planet at a cost of $140 million. That's more, by the way, than any of the films that we've just mentioned. And it grossed just $109 million. That's a total failure. And then Finding Nemo comes out the following year, earning $940 million against a $90 million budget. And that's all she wrote. That's the beginning of the end of traditional animation. How films like Home on the Range and Meet the Robinsons even got made following this is a mystery to me, even though the latter was pretty good by most accounts, but was also equally as forgotten as Treasure Planet. And those fresh baked are our top 5 reasons why Treasure Planet failed despite it being a pretty good Disney film. I want to know your thoughts in the comments below about this, and if you have any suggestions for a future Quick 5 segment, we're happy to hear from you. And until next time, fresh baked! We've got lots more videos for you to see, so grab a churro and check out some of our other videos and have your mind blown by how much fun we're having. We truly are the best of Disney Baked Fresh Daily. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time. Fresh baked!